It's called a poncho, Forky.
So here we're going to have a trailer reaction for the first official trailer for Toy Story 5. At the time I'm recording this trailer dropped about 9 hours ago. I was at work and I figured instead of watching it at work on my phone, I wanted to do a trailer reaction for it because it's hard not to be fascinated by this movie. Even if you're someone that's not super looking forward to Toy Story 5, you can't help but be fascinated by the fact that, you know, it's another Toy Story movie. You don't know how many of these you're going to get in your lifetime. The thing that's really interesting about Toy Story, that's such a weird franchise, is that as much as people say that they love the movies and love the series, people are always apprehensive to when a new one's coming out. It's just the weirdest feeling. No other series is like that, whether animated, live action, you name it. With Toy Story 5, we've only seen, in terms of a trailer, there's just the teaser trailer that released a few months ago. That's just, you know, a little glimpse of the movie, nothing super significant. But this trailer is, Jesus, 2 minutes and 24 seconds, so it's going to be a real official look of the film in terms of the story, the characters, all that kind of thing. Now, in terms of what we know about the movie before I watch this official trailer, the whole sort of basic plot about the movie seems like it's going in the direction of toys versus technology, a little social commentary as far as, you know, kids being on their phones, using technology, that kind of thing, and not really playing with toys, playing outside. That's something that might be a worthwhile story, is at least trying to justify, you know, this movie existing. You can always mostly count on Pixar finding the right story to tell. But you have that, there's something about an army of like Buzz Lightyears, and I think those are the two major plot points I've seen. And then there's been some stuff in the last few weeks where it's talking about how you see on like leaks online or something, at least whether this is true or not, this movie being Jessie's story. She'll like be the main character, and something about her owner Emily being involved. I mean, who knows? The only way to really find out is to watch the trailer. So enough rambling. I got the trailer set up, watching it on the official Pixar YouTube channel. Alright, watching the trailer. Make sure my volume's up. Alright, good. Watching in 3, 2, 1, click.
Do you, Forky, take Karen Beverly to be your beloved bride?
Yeah!
Oh, wow.
I now pronounce you husband and knife. Who poisoned the maid of honor?
Bonnie, there's a package for you.
It's a good opening.
Thank you.
Hi there, I'm Lilypad. Let's play.
Extinction! Not again!
Okay.
Bonnie, screen time's over now.
Okay.
I want to talk to you, Device.
Please, call me Lily.
Me and the toys have been working all summer to try and get Bonnie to make friends.
Yeah.
But then you had to ruin
Got
it.
it.
You're not even listening to me.
I'm always listening. See? Now in Spanish.
What?
Yeah, I got dibs on behind the dresser.
Definitely Jessie's movie.
Is it as bad out there for toys as they say it is?
We're finding more abandoned toys each day.
Hey,
Tex invaded our house too.
I don't know, Jessie. Toys are for play, but tech is for everything.
I'm losing Bonnie to this device.
You got a friend!
wow.
Came here as fast as I could.
Why are you wearing a dress, Woody?
It's called a poncho, Forky.
Someone needs a brown marker.
Halt! Who goes there?
Whoa, whoa, whoa! I come in peace.
It's been too long, cowboy.
What are you, some sort of old man toy?
What?
She thinks you're old because you're bald, Woody.
Bonnie needs help from someone at least from the same century. So long, toys.
Wow.
We're gonna need backup.
What the hell?
Just give me away, boss!
Our mission on this planet is to make a child happy.
Bonnie still needs us. Come on, Bullseye.
But you stay here. I'm going with them.
You don't think I can do it?
Oh,
Poncho.
call back.
It's good to see them fighting again.
It sure is.
Wow. Hey, that was some good stuff right there. Oh my goodness. There was a lot about that trailer to really enjoy. I think that trailer was a lot better than I think most people thought it was gonna be. If you think this was gonna be some kind of like cash grab, but the thing with Pixar is they always just find just the right stuff to tell a good story. Now, I'm just trying to think about everything in the trailer. In terms of what I said earlier about, from what I heard, this being kind of Jessie's movie, it kind of felt like that in the trailer. She definitely felt like she was kind of the main one, that the story was kind of centered around her. Which, if you go back to, obviously she had pretty good parts, obviously, in Toy Story 2 and 3. In Toy Story 4, her and some of the other regular, ones that were Andy's toys, they weren't really in the movie all that much besides Woody and Buzz. Woody was really the focus of it. But that's cool, her getting the spotlight. I had forgotten about that, how they were gonna rework Woody into this movie, obviously with Toy Story 4, with how he made the choice to go with Bo Peep. You're thinking, well, based on the promos having Woody back, it's like, how exactly would that work out? But I think they found an okay way to sort of incorporate him back in. It was a fun thing about him having like a bald spot. I guess he's been in the sun too long. They got to call that one guy from Toy Story 2. I think it's Jerry, the one that kind of did him up after Al kidnapped him. So that's pretty nice right there. That was a cool look with him in the poncho. I like that. I was kind of wondering, because you saw a glimpse of Bo Peep. It's kind of a question to me, like, how much is Bo Peep? Is she going to be in this movie, like, in a decent amount? Probably not, based on that trailer. You just saw a bit of her from the backside when Woody was answering the call. She's got to be in the movie a little bit, because they got to make that transition in terms of showing Woody and what he's been doing, like, after Toy Story 4. So, I think that's nice. You'll see her at least for a little bit, but I don't really expect her to be part of the main story. I like your kind of central plot, as far as, some real commentary as far as kids being addicted to technology. And, in this decade now, it obviously ain't just kids, it's adults, to where, to try to go a whole day without your phone seems almost impossible with how plugged in you feel like you gotta be. And this is having some nice commentary on that, with your main villain not being, it's not a phone, it's like some kind of like iPad device, maybe special for kids, with I think that was a frog design or something like that. That looks like it can be interesting in terms of a story. Again, finding a story that's worth telling. There's some nice callbacks, like with Jessie. Again, the stuff I talked about earlier, I heard something about Jessie, her owner being involved from Emily. If you remember the backstory that Jessie had from Toy Story 2. I don't know how that would be naturally incorporated into the story, but we'll see what they do. It kind of showed some glimpses as far as it's kind of tough to tell what's going on. Like, Jessie is kind of separated from the group. There's a part where she's thrown in the car. Maybe that's just trailer editing that's making it seem like that's some super big plot point. Who knows? But it showed a lot of cool stuff, like in terms of the story potentially getting big. You saw some interesting shots, like Jessie leading a charge where they're racing down the street. Probably the part that was some real nostalgia right there, was the part where Woody and Buzz are kind of racing to the car to catch up. And it can't help but remind you of the end of Toy Story 1, the iconic street chase where they're running through the streets, which somehow no humans saw them. That's a different story. But that was a nice little callback to that right there. And you couldn't help but be touched by that moment with Woody and Buzz reuniting when Woody actually comes back. That whole scene is going to be great to see, I thought it was worth it, the ending. I didn't mind the ending of Toy Story 4, Woody making that choice to really, that's a choice that made you like feel something like, whoa. But obviously you can't help but like the fact that Woody's back with the group, with Buzz and all them. And then, this trailer had so much stuff, even the ending, where something that was pretty, at first seems small, but it's actually really significant if you know the behind the scenes of this movie, is at the end where you see the scene with Woody and Buzz with the car, where they're kind of going back and forth, whatever, bickering, and you hear Mr. Potato Head say, "Oh, it's nice to hear them fight again." What's significant about that is the new voice actor, I believe, for Mr. Potato Head. At least I probably should have researched this, but I know one of my friends at work said something about they finally did recast Mr. Potato Head. The voice of him, the voice through the first 3 movies was comedian Don Rickles. He passed away. If it wasn't, it was like a couple of years before Toy Story 4 came out, and I guess he hadn't recorded any of his dialogue for the movie. So if you remember in Toy Story 4, Mr. Potato Head really had a pretty small part, and the times that he did speak, they used archive footage of Don Rickles as Mr. Potato Head. That's a nice way to pay tribute to him. But if you're going to continue to have him in these movies, then you gotta, be respectful, but you gotta replace the voice. Otherwise, just not have the character in the movie. And you saw from the first teaser for the movie from a few months ago, he's going to be in the movie. So I just always felt like, if you're going to have him, just recast the voice. And at least I think they recast the voice. And if it is a recast voice, he sounds pretty good. I'm actually going to look it up right now. Toy Story 5, Mr. Potato Head. I believe the voice actress for, I think Mrs. Potato Head died as well. So I think they would recast her. Let's see if they recast it. Yes, they have been officially recast. The original voice actor is Mr. Potato Head, Don Rickles. He passed away in 2017, and Mrs. Potato Head was actually just a few years ago. Estelle, I hope I'm saying the name right, Estelle Harris. She passed away in 2022, and so they have new voice actors taking over. Jeff Bergman is Mr. Potato Head, and Anna Vocino will voice Mrs. Potato Head. I think Jeff Bergman, if I'm remembering that name right, I think he's most known for doing Looney Tunes stuff like Bugs Bunny, unless I'm thinking of someone else. But he sounds nice as that character, so that sounds good. So I'm liking that they're at least finding a way to have that. That's cool. But overall, I thought this was a really good trailer. As it kept going on, it really did impress me. Just kind of the work that seems like it's put into this movie. I know it's directed by Andrew Stanton. If you know your Pixar history, he's done stuff like Finding Nemo, Finding Dory, WALL-E. So he knows what he's doing with Pixar. He's one of the kind of the big directors from the old John Lasseter era. So they know what they're doing when it comes to that. But I just thought that trailer just looked really good, for a first impression, for a first real impression of the movie, for something that I'm sure a lot of people think's a cash grab. At least for me, I thought it looked pretty good. I guess the real question is, like, in the comments, what are people saying? It's always funny what they say on that kind of stuff. So this first comment that's showing right here, it says, Pixar knowing we are watching this trailer on our phones and some kids on their iPads. Yeah, probably. Next comment, it's actually pretty poetic that Jesse is basically experiencing what Woody went through when he first met Buzz. Yeah, that's actually a good point, with Jesse being kind of the head honcho now of the toy group while Woody's away, the new sheriff after Toy Story 4. That's a kind of interesting parallel right there. I'll read a few more. Toys are for play, tech is for everything. That line hits pretty hard. Yeah, that's a good line right there. Some nice writing on that one. Two more. Someone needs a brown marker. I gagged, crying face. Yeah, that was a funny line. Woody with his bald spot. And now from one more. From being the first computer animated film to having multiple photorealistic shots. What a journey. Yeah, the animation looks great. That's the thing about CG animation is that, when you after a few years, you really see that next step as far as rendering and all that. And Toy Story has actually been the perfect example to see that. From the first movie in '95, but you see it looks obviously pretty raw now, but for its time, it still mostly looks pretty good besides the human characters. You see the jump in rendering they did with Toy Story 2 in 1999, then a full plus decade later with Toy Story 3, which obviously just looked a lot better in terms of more seamless in the movements, the rendering. But then Toy Story 4, 9 years later in 2019, that just looked unbelievable as far as the rendering they were able to do with it. It just looked incredible. Those character models and the kind of updated kind of style, it looked really good. You should take notes, Shrek, on how it's done. Now you see Toy Story 5, where the rendering continues to look great. not as big a leap as we've seen in the other movies. I think there's only so much maybe we can do with technology as it is right now. But it looks amazing, with Toy Story, you can put all your money in the Pixar and Disney and put all their resources in knowing they've probably got $1 billion hit on their hand. I mean, it's one of the few movies out there, series, where if it doesn't make $1 billion, you're like, what the hell happened? And obviously Pixar, they need this to be a hit just because a lot of their original stuff over the last half decade hasn't done so well for a variety of reasons. But with the reliable sequels, that's shown with what Inside Out 2 did a couple years ago. I think they're expecting big things from this one. And I think, just based on this trailer, I think there's a lot of reasons to be excited for this. So, looks a lot better than Hopper, the Pixar movie that's coming out in a couple weeks. That's obviously why this trailer's coming out now, to play in front of that movie. I don't think that movie looks all that great, to be honest. So that's the thing. Maybe if you have sequels where the effort's put in, then there's no reason not to be excited. You can support both original and sequel movies. So just based on the trailer, I think Toy Story 5 looks really damn good. So that'll do it for this trailer reaction. This ended up being a long reaction video for Toy Story 5. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you for watching.